Bitcoin is the first perfect money, the first perfect money in the history of the human race. I spend my copious free time reading economic history, and I've read thousands of years of economic history and tens of thousands of pages, and it's one chaotic, disaster train wreck of we used seashells, we used bales of tobacco, we used silver and gold, and we clipped the coins, and we had bimetallism, and it crashed, and we had fiat currency, and we had a debt crisis, and no one ever had a money that was not defective. I mean, I can show you examples of monetary crashes every 30 years for the past 3,000 years in every single culture. And Satoshi comes along for the first time and says, oh yeah, here's money, it's not broken. And it's so profound. It's like, you look at this water, you sit down at a table and the poor person thinks, oh, I got to drink water. And the rich person wants to drink $1,000 bottle of champagne or wine or something. But for 100,000 years, humans didn't have clean water. Right? And if you read the history of civilization, people are dying in their 30s and 40s and 20s because the water's dirty, because they're getting infected. If you were Henry VIII, you didn't have clean water. The reason they all had gout is they had to drink wine with alcohol in it, and they ended up with degradation of their limbs because they didn't have clean water. So we only have clean water, clean air, clean food that doesn't kill us. We only have it for the past 100 years. We had dirty money from 3 million BC all the way up to January 3rd, 2009. We have dirty money, and there's one guy that actually finally gives us clean money, non-toxic. It does not kill us. So is it spiritual? Yeah, it's spiritual. It's like, what happens when I inject poison and toxic into the veins of my kids? They're dying. It's like forcible chemotherapy to a 12-year-old athlete. That's the problem. All these companies have a useful life expectancy of 10 to 15 years. You know why? Because the capital is toxic, because the money that they capitalize on is toxic. It's sucking the life out of them. Satoshi comes along and he gives you non-toxic money. And who else did it before him? Nobody. So you got to actually hold with reverence the person that actually gave the human race the first clean, perfected money. And you look after that point, you're like, oh man, like we're not dying anymore. Infant mortality rate's 40% before clean water. It's like 4 out of 10 of your kids are going to drop dead, and I give you clean water, and I say, take this, it won't kill them. And you're like, well, what? So the point is, it's a pretty profound paradigm shift, and it's for those of us who are maximalist, that actually believe Bitcoin is an ethical imperative. It's an instrument of economic empowerment. We're just very protective of Satoshi. We don't like what anybody pokes at Satoshi, right?
Is that pretty common in this space? Is that pretty common in folks in Bitcoin who are influencers like yourself, that they have a similar feeling?
The maximalists, yeah.
The maximalists.
Yeah, like I said, it's like 10 hours and you're a trader, 100 hours you're an investor, 1,000 hours you're a maximalist. You think it's an instrument of economic empowerment. It's an ethical imperative for 8 billion people. So, like, for example, you think the world's better with electricity?
Sure.
What if I took your family, I took away electricity, clean water, clean air, clean food, and metal? Do you feel like you've been ripped back to the Stone Age? Like maybe Stone Age? Yeah. Would you be angry about it? So what if I turn around? Now, what if I said the opposite, which is, I don't think you should have those things? What if I said, I don't think you should have clean air, clean food, or steel, or glass? What if or internal combustion engine? I'm going to take away your car. Would you not be a little bit angry at me? A little bit irritated? A little bit irked? I'm going to pass a law taking away your rights to electricity and glass and airplanes, right, from your family and all your friends. And you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's how we feel about Bitcoin. When that's how we feel about money, or in this case, about digital money, perfected digital money. We're like, you're going to take that away from people? Or if you said to me, if I said, I got this idea for your kids. We're going to give them clean food and clean water in their first 5 years. And then another friend of mine says, not really important. You don't need that. It's like, oh, we're just going to give you half like, swamp water, and we're going to have them eat mud. And that's okay too. We're going to diversify, and I'm like, don't feed your kids mud and don't give them swamp water. And by the way, they're going to, and here's antibiotics. You don't need antibiotics. They're going to die without the antibiotics. Like, it's not a big deal. The point is, yeah, we get worked up about it because we see it's like critical technology, and you're not going to move the human race forward in the next millennium without electricity, without digital energy, right? Bitcoin is digital energy, just like you had electrical energy, just like you had, it's just like, if we took away crude oil right now, 95% of the people on Earth would starve to death or freeze to death. The world comes to a grinding halt. So when people actually attack oil, or they attack nuclear power, they attack electricity, you think like, you just must hate humanity. And when you attack Bitcoin, you're attacking digital energy, right? And you must just hate humanity.